Hello and welcome to another Stamp with Amy K Facebook Live video. And I know that I said I was going to be out on YouTube Live today, but I absolutely couldn't get the live stream to start. I'm not entirely sure if YouTube is having problems or what's going on. So I figured I would just hop on Facebook Live and hopefully y'all can find me over here because, like I said, I'm not entirely sure what is going on out on YouTube. It's just very, very strange. And it was like it just kept telling me it couldn't connect to YouTube. So, like I said, I figured I'd hop over here and hopefully y'all will come and find me here because that was totally crazy. And I don't know what happened. So if you are joining me, I appreciate it. And thank you for finding me over here. I will upload this video to YouTube once I get done with it. But like I said, I don't know what's going on out on YouTube, but it was all sorts of crazy. So. All right, so let's go ahead and get going. Hey, Bree, and like I said, thanks for finding me over here. I'm not sure what's going on out on YouTube. I could not get the video to start. It was acting like it would start, and then it would just be like, oh, you're not connected. So I don't know. Hopefully I didn't start the video like 12 times out there, and y'all are like, what is this crazy woman doing? So, all right, so thanks again for hopping over and finding me here on Facebook. Hey, Jackie, thanks for joining today. We're going to make a card, birthday card actually, because I am constantly finding, hey Mary, I don't know, YouTube is not behaving nicely today, and it booted me off like 5 times. So I'm here on Facebook. All right, and normally it's the other way around kind of, which is a little weird. So anyway, so I'm good. We're going to get going on this. Yeah, I had trouble finding you guys too. It's like I said, YouTube was not behaving today. I don't know what's going on. So we're going to be making a birthday card with a masculine birthday card in particular, which I know a lot of us struggle with. I do definitely. It's always hard to make them. Men are just difficult, I guess. I don't know. So hey, Heather, I'm glad that you are catching me live as well. So we're going to use the Happiest of Birthday stamp set, which is one of those that is in the annual catalog, and it's definitely a good one. And we are also going to be using the Gathered Leaves dies and the Gather Together. We're just using the flower leaf image from that on the inside of the card. So we are using this bundle, which is in the mini catalog. It was actually in our last little fall catalog, the holiday catalog, but it carried over and it's now back in bundled together. So you save 10% if you purchase the stamp set and dies together in the new catalog. So let me set a few things aside here. Before we get going too much on the card, I wanted to remind you about a couple things. I do have a paper, an envelope and packaging little special going on. Hey, Jerry, thanks for hopping in today. A little special going on over on my blog. So for every order of $50 or greater that you place through me between now and Monday, October 26th, you get to pick a free pack of envelopes, note cards and envelopes, Memories of More card pack cards, acetate card boxes, treat boxes, so on and so forth. There are about 25 different ones that you get to choose from. And this is in addition to the normal $10 thank you gift that you get from me. And you're also going to be earning reward points and all the other good stuff. So definitely worth checking out. You can go to my blog, which is stampwithamyk.com, and all the details are posted out there. So I do have that going on, and that goes on to page 2. So like I said, I think there are about 25 different ones. So let me know if you have any questions about that. Would love to have you put in an order and get some extra little freebies. And next up, we got the Designer Series paper sale, which is going on from Stampin' Up! Through the end of October. It's 15% off 15 select packs of Designer Series paper. And it's a combination of papers from the holiday catalog as well as the annual catalog. So definitely lots of good ones. And I'm going to be playing with a couple of them today, of course, because they're awesome. And then the last thing is the Curvy Celebrations bundle, which is coming on November 3rd. So it is a brand new bundle. Some of it will be carried forward into the next mini catalog, and some of it's going to be exclusive to just the holiday season. So we've got the Quite Curvy bundle, and it's a stamp set and dies, and those are bundled together to save 10%. This bundle will actually be in the next mini catalog, which is the January to June 2021, which I can't believe is 2021 already, mini catalog. And then we also have the Curvy Christmas stamp set and the Coordinating Designer Series paper. These 2 items are actually only going to be available from November 3rd through January 4th. So if you want these items, which you definitely do because they're really good, you need to get on it and get them ordered sometime in the month of November or December. They have a big bundle that includes everything in it for $70.50. And you'll be wanting to keep your eye on my blog because if you purchase the big bundle, there's a little bonus that I'm going to be sharing some details about in the upcoming, probably, I don't know, probably be 10 days or so. But I'll definitely let you know. So be thinking about that. Hey, Lynette, I'm glad you're joining from South Dakota today. All right, so we already talked about the stamp sets, talked about the card. A couple other things that I used on it is the Stitched Rectangles dies, and I'm going to be using, it's actually the 4th largest one here to cut out the sentiment. And then the other thing that I used that I didn't necessarily talk about is the Tasteful Textile 3D embossing folder, which is an awesome one. If you do not have this one, you definitely need to get it. It's such a nice kind of subtle background, and it's awesome for everything. So definitely another good embossing folder. So I'm going to set a few things aside and we will get going on the card. The original card base that I had, again, just because it's my preference, I prefer the ones that are the tent fold cards, so it opens like this. We're actually going to be making a book fold card today. So this one is cut to 5.5 by 8.5 and scored at 4 1/4. If you want the card base that opens like my preferred way, it's 4 1/4 by 11 and scored at 5.5. So same difference, just a little different layout of the card base. For the background, I used a piece of the, hey Julia, glad you're here. Glad you like that color too. It's Pretty Peacock is the official name of that color, and it is an in color, and it'll be going away probably at the end of the next catalog. So if you like it, you and your mom need to get it. And the leaves, yep, the pack of paper is actually the brushed metallic. This one and this one are actually both from that pack of paper, so definitely some good things in there as well. And that is in the mini catalog. So. All right, so for the background, I used a piece of, hey, Linda and Connie, I see you're both here as well. So it is a beautiful fall day. It's a little rainy here, but I can't complain about that. The temperatures have been fantastic. So, all right, so I got Sahara Sand card base, got a piece of Designer Series paper from the In Good Taste Designer Series paper pack, which does happen to be on sale for 15% off during the month of October. And I've got a little bit of liquid glue that I'm going to be putting on the card front and just putting it kind of all over the place, but not too thick so that hopefully I don't make too much of a mess. And we are just going to adhere this. This is cut to 4 1/4 by 5.5, and it should cover the entire card front perfectly. And if you've watched my videos before, when I cover the entire card front, I generally tend to use the liquid glue, which is a little messy if you get a little overzealous with it. But I usually use that because it gives me a little bit of time to make sure that everything's lined up before it's stuck down forever and ever. All right, next up, I've got another one of the Designer Series papers here. This is the Plaid Tidings Designer Series paper, which is also on sale and is equally as awesome. It's on sale this month for 15% off as well. Going to use a little stamp and seal to adhere that to a piece of Pretty Peacock cardstock. The cardstock cuts are all going to be out on my blog tomorrow, so no need to worry about writing them down. But if you are interested, the Designer Series paper is cut to 2 inches by 5.5. And the Pretty Peacock cardstock panel is cut to 2 1/8 by 5.5 as well. So I'm just adhering the two pieces together and hopefully getting everything stuck down straight. And then we're going to go ahead and adhere it to the card front with a little stamp and seal as well, if I could drive it. Sometimes my driving skills and adhesives don't go hand in hand. So, all right, and then I'm just going to take this and adhere it to the card front. I can't really say that I had any like specific exact placement on it, just sort of towards the left-hand side. We'll just call it that. I did go ahead earlier and embossed a piece of shaded spruce cardstock with the Tasteful Textile 3D embossing folder. So that was already done ahead of time, and then I've got a little piece of shaded spruce cardstock as well that I'm going to be sticking this to. The embossed piece of shaded spruce is cut to 5/8 inches by 4 1/4. And then the larger piece, the background piece, is cut to 3/4 of an inch by 4 1/4. So again, the details will be on my blog tomorrow, so no need to worry about getting the 1/4 inches and 1/8 inches and all that stuff all written down. Next thing I'm going to do is go ahead and adhere this to the card front. And again, it should stretch right across the middle. All right, so we got that done. Next up, I'm finally going to do a little bit of stamping for you, and I'm going to be using Pretty Peacock ink and the sentiment from the Happiest of Birthday stamp sets. And with the larger images, I do often find that it's easier to take the image and put it face up and then add the ink, tap the ink over it, so you can tell that you're getting good coverage on it. Sometimes it's a little harder to tell when you take it and smoosh it down on the ink pad, and you don't always get as good of an image as you want when you do that way. Usually I find that if I tip it face up, it works a little bit better. And lift it off, and I think I got a pretty good image. Close up the ink pad before I stick my fingers in it, which I usually end up doing even though I've already got it closed up. So, hey, Barbara, I'm glad that you're here. And I apologize. I should have been live over on YouTube, but YouTube was not behaving today and was absolutely not letting me go live. So I just decided, well, we'll do Facebook today. So I've got one of the Stitched Rectangles dies. Again, this is the fourth largest of the Stitched Rectangle dies. And I'm going to cut out the sentiment. One little quick tip when you're using the Stitched Rectangles dies is, or anything that's got kind of a flat, wide edge on it, is to take it when you're going and put it into your die cutting machine, put it at just a slight angle if you can. Sometimes the paper size and that won't allow you to, but if you can put it at a slight angle, then it hits the rollers at the point rather than straight on at the blunt spot. So sometimes it's really difficult to get them cranked through if it hits that flat edge. So if you can sneak it through on a corner, it runs through a little bit easier and a little bit smoother on a die cutting machine. So my die cutting machine is off to my right side here, and I'm going to do a quick roll through the die cutting machine. Hope that y'all are having a fantastic Friday. I almost forgot what day it was. I was going to say Thursday. And maybe it is Thursday, and that's why YouTube was not cooperating. I don't know. So. All right, so I've got the die cutting done. And I'm going to use Stampin' Dimensionals to adhere this to the card front. And again, I take my Stampin' Dimensionals and cut them in half right down the center of the dimensional because, well, as Karen says, I'm frugal. She tells me I'm not cheap. I say cheap, but she says frugal. And on top of that, I feel like this size actually works better a lot of times than the full-size dimensionals do. So I prefer to cut mine in half. So if you've watched my videos before, we generally have this discussion as well. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and adhere this to the card front. And I'm trying to use my right edge here as my lineup spot to make sure that I get it fairly straight. And I also have some Stampin' Dimensionals that I put intentionally way down low, and then the one that's kind of here in the center so that they wouldn't sit on the top of the layers under here, so you didn't get kind of a weird bump as you're putting your card front together. All right, so next up, I have got a few die cuts that I've done ahead here with the gathered leaves dies. And I'll show you those really quickly. Hey, Lori, glad that you're here. No worries on being late. So you can always watch the replay if you're really dying to watch my video again. So this is the die that I used, and I love all the dies in here, you know, because I'm a total die, you know, die junkie, I guess you can call me that. So I love these especially though because they emboss and they cut. So they cut around the edges and then they emboss in the center, and they're absolutely beautiful. So, and they work fantastic on the foil papers as well as on the regular cardstock. Hopefully you can see it in the light here that it embosses both very, very nicely. So it's a great set of dies, and again, it's bundled together with a stamp set to save 10% during the catalog. So, all right, so we've got, this one is, I think this is technically the copper color. I've had a discussion, you know, with demonstrator support about it, and we think that the very lightest paper is actually copper. It's a very light version of copper. Because, like I said, we had, you know, someone asked me, and I'm like, goodness, you know, I don't even know for sure. So we believe that one's the copper color, and this one is the brass color, and then the in-between color is actually the gold one, which I actually thought that one was gold, but then the other one looks gold, and so then I was all confused about which one was gold and which one was copper. So, but she said, and I believe her, that this is actually the copper one. So you know what? I probably need to move this dimensional just a little bit. All right, so I've got the leaf that I've cut from Pretty Peacock cardstock, and I'm just going to tuck that right here around the sentiment and sort of hook it up over with the other leaf, and also try to make sure that I've got it still here on my card front and that it's not hanging off the edge. All right. Hey, got to get to the post office? No worries, Mary. So thanks for joining today. Glad that you like the card. And the leaves, yes, the embossing on the leaves, Heather, it's awesome. It's one of my favorite things. I love the die set, and I really love those leaves. So I actually liked the embossed leaf better than the stamped one, which usually is not the case. Usually I'm the other way around. So, all right, just used a couple of Stampin' Dimensionals. So I used glue dots, which I probably didn't say, on the one that I adhered kind of tucked underneath the sentiment, and then I used Stampin' Dimensionals to adhere the other two on. So you thought the light one was the brass? Again, I can't say with 100% certainty, but that was what I was told by someone from Stampin' Up, that the lighter one was the copper, the darker one's the brass, and the middle one is gold. So that's what I'm going with from here forward. So, all right, so I've got the Pretty Peacock ink again, and another one of the sentiments from the Happiest of Birthdays stamp set, which, again, that's a good stamp set, a good kind of basic one that everybody needs to have, I think, when you're making birthday cards. And hopefully I'll get it stamped straight on here, or fairly straight. Thanks so much, Jackie. I appreciate that. And thank you, Lynette. Glad that you're liking my card today. Last thing I'm going to do for the inside of the card, this is just Whisper White cardstock cut to 4 by 5 1/4. I've got Sahara Sand ink and the leaf image from the Gather Together stamp set. And I'm just going to stamp it I think I'm going to turn it this way. Stamp it right down the edge of the card and sort of make it look kind of like the leaves on the card front, where it's sort of falling down the edge, if that makes sense, with the 3 leaf images. All right, I'm going to go ahead and adhere this to the inside of the card. Hey, Mel, I'm glad that you liked it. Yes, the leaves are really, really pretty in this one. So, well, I can't even call it pretty because this is supposed to be a masculine card. So they're pretty in a manly way. We'll say that. So, but yeah, I do love the leaves in the set. It's a beautiful, beautiful die set. All right, and then I'm just going to take this and adhere it to the inside of the card. There we go, with a little Stampin' Seal. And I'm going to take the bone folder and give it a good crease here on the edge. And that is all for my card today. A super simple one, but like I said, I'm always in need of birthday cards, and particularly masculine birthday cards. I have a horrible time making those, but I've got a couple of birthdays coming up in my family that I needed to have some masculine cards for. So some of you that are on may recognize these when they arrive at your house. So, all right. So thanks so much for joining me today. I appreciate you all being here. Have a fantastic rest of your day and a wonderful weekend. And I will plan to be back out on Facebook live on Tuesday, and hopefully back on YouTube live next week, Friday. Like I said, I'm not entirely sure what happened, why it wouldn't let me go live, but it wouldn't. So we're here instead. So I appreciate y'all being here. And again, sorry about the issues out on YouTube, and hopefully nobody was hanging out over there waiting for me forever, but I'll just upload it to YouTube and we'll have to call it good. So thanks again for joining me today. Have a wonderful weekend, and we will chat soon.